Let's go over the most underrated player on every team in Major League Baseball. We dropped the overrated players a couple days ago. Make sure you go check it out on the channel. Make sure you are subscribed as well to the Windup. We're uploading multiple times a week. We got short form, long form content. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on any of it. James, I picked where we were starting last time. Where do you want to go this time first?
Last time we started NL East. This time let's start AL East.
Okay, so let's go with the Yankees first, because why not? Start off with a banger. James, who do you got?
This is a two-part one. A couple of these I did two-part ones because it's kind of hard to decide. Picking underrated players is kind of like, deciding between who's your favorite child. There's just so many to choose from and you love them all. The combination of Jazz Chisholm and Ben Rice. Jazz is the second best second baseman in baseball, the best second baseman in the American League. He is habitually underrated. He's working on about a full season now since he was traded to the Yankees, especially with the injury, 160 games. He's almost a 7-win player who's almost on a 40-40 pace. Like that does not grow on trees.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that because those were the two guys that I was looking at. I ended up going with Jazz over Ben Rice just because there's so much hate around Jazz Chisholm as a player. I feel like he's got to be one of the most hated players in baseball because of his cockiness and his, I don't want to say arrogance, but because of how he plays the game.
He does make mental mistakes. That's
He
part
does
of
make
it.
mental mistakes. He's not perfect, but at the plate, he's a phenomenal player.
And
And
the
the fact
field.
that and in the field, like the Yankees got a really good player out of him. Jazz Chisholm's a top 50 player in the league, and I think there's a lot of people who watch baseball or who call themselves baseball fans that have a completely different outlook on what Jazz Chisholm is as a player. Now for the Yankees' rivals, the Boston Red Sox. Who did you pick?
Weird one here. Brian Bayo. I
Ooh.
think that we've been kind of waiting for Brian Bayo to take a step for a few years because visually he's such an impressive pitcher. I don't know. I love a changeup, even though the right-handed changeups never really work as well. But the Red Sox have kind of tried to find different ways to circumvent a bad fastball over the last few years. So it was tons of sinkers last year. This year, in the middle of June, he added a cutter. Since he added that cutter to his repertoire on June 15th, 2.58 ERA, 1.05 whip, higher strikeout rate, lower walk rate. He's become the real kind of secret 2-3 in that rotation that's going to get big playoff starts. And I think is still flying under the radar for how successful he's been.
Brian Bayo's been doing wonders for me in my fantasy league on my dynasty team. He's been phenomenal. I went on the offensive side, and I do have a feeling that we're going to be doing that a lot. I'm going to be more hitter friendly. You're going to be more pitcher friendly. I went with Romy Gonzalez. He's just
Yeah.
kind of good. Like he's swinging the bat way harder than he has. He mashes, especially against lefties. He absolutely crushes lefties. He's been the perfect fill-in piece for them at first base in a Red Sox team where there might still be some holes here and there, but the guys that play their roles play it so well. And you're looking at Romy Gonzalez, who now for a year, 300 batting average, 340 on base, 833 OPS. The home run numbers aren't gaudy. It's only 8 home runs and about 300 plate appearances, but hits the ball hard, gets on base, can play multiple positions. I think he's been a solid player.
The only small counter argument against Romy is that for most of that time over the stats you said, which are great stats, he plays with a platoon advantage. Like he
Yes,
only really
that's the whole thing.
he has played more against righties this year just because of all the turbulence at first base for the Red Sox, but he always hits against the lefties as a righty and he decimates them. So that will always bump those stats up. But moving on to the next team in this division, who's your most underrated player in the Orioles?
Ooh, okay. This was the one that I'm going to tell you. You're going to just have to hear me out. Dean Kramer. Dean Kramer is my
Okay.
most underrated player on the Orioles. He has a 4 ERA for his career. There is nothing special going on under the hood with Dean Kramer. You look at him and you go, he's a pitcher. But what if I told you from the time that Dean Kramer started getting like legitimate playing time, which is all the way back in 2022, since 2022, he's in top 30 in innings pitched in Major League Baseball. Sometimes the best skill is being available, and Dean Kramer just throws a ton of innings, which is something that the Orioles have needed with all the injuries that they've had to their pitching staff.
Totally. He's also such an up and down guy. Like Dean Kramer will have
Oh,
a month where he's getting the 28% strikeouts and he's getting the swings and misses and everything. And then all of a sudden, it all just falls apart for two starts, gives him 12 runs.
like it
That,
has recently. Like he
yeah.
went he went a couple games like 8-7-6, no runs, 7 strikeouts, and then he's gone back to back, giving up 7, I think.
That's very much a beauty in the eye of the beholder because I think a lot of people will either overrate or underrate those very consistently inconsistent guys. I think that's probably something that we could do for a future video on this channel. I went stars for this one. I think it's Gunnar Henderson.
Hmm.
I think Gunnar Henderson is one of the 5, 6, or 7 best, most valuable hitters in all of Major League Baseball. I think because the season started slow after an oblique injury, which cost most of his spring training. He came back, no rehab. I think people kind of forget. He's been blazing hot since the
Yep.
middle of summer. I think that he's not on that tier of like Bobby Witt, Aaron Judge, Shohei, Juan Soto. He's basically on the next tier of position players in Major League Baseball, though. And I sometimes don't think he gets recognized as such.
Yeah, Gunner is really good. And like you said, the slow start because of missing spring training, that was kind of the entire reason behind it. For the Toronto Blue Jays, one of the most surprising teams in baseball, I'll get this one started.
Need it.
It's going to be my favorite player, obviously. I never overrated this guy or underrated this guy ever in my life. Dalton Varsho. I'll
Okay.
tell you this, 18 home runs and playing elite defense like he is in 50 games, not getting enough shine in the national media. I don't think it's legit. I don't know how long it's going to last, but the fact that he's hitting home runs at this insane rate and still playing elite defense in center field, it's extremely valuable. And I think nationally should be talked about more.
Dalton Varsho was my guy because I just wanted to try and ruffle your feathers. But I'm happy that you've now seen the light on Dalton
I've
Varsho being a
always
good player.
I listen, you know what's funny is I used to be so early on Dalton Varsho, and then last year I reverted back to being like, whatever, I don't care, and that bit me in the ass.
All right, I had a backup though just in case you did pull this card, and it's Alejandro Kirk.
Okay.
Alejandro Kirk is just a good hitter and a good fielder. I don't know if he's going to be a 300 hitter his entire career, but he definitely settles in as someone who could easily be 10 to 20% better than league average with the bat while being a plus player behind the plate. Still only 26 years old. I think he gets underrated because he looks a little funny as a baseball player.
You think?
Yeah, but Alejandro Kirk is awesome, and he's kind of been something that's like tied that Blue Jays team together this year. It's a team that's overachieved a lot. He's been one of the big ones that's been consistent behind all of that.
Last team in the American League East, the Tampa Bay Rays. Are you going with your boy?
I have a couple ones I'm going with, but I do want to shout out just something crazy that's happening in Tampa Bay this year as they've moved out of the Trop into Steinbrenner Field. One, Little League Ballpark, modeled after Yankee Stadium. You guys all know it's a Little League Ballpark. Two, because there's less stands and less retaining walls in there, they have the craziest wind patterns in all of Major League Baseball. So I've heard, I think it was either Pepe or Boz talking about how when they're on the mound, they now show the pitch movement over on the scoreboard so they can watch and see how the wind's affecting their pitches, pitch by pitch, start by start. So I want to shout out Brett Jackson, who started the company Weather Applied Metrics, former center fielder on the Cubs. They're trying to figure out how weather actually affects pitches and balls in the air and everything in play. They gave a great seminar at Baseball Saber Conference. So I do want to say right now, I think Ryan Pepio.
Ooh, okay.
I think all of the pitchers in this team have become underrated because of how ridiculous that ballpark is. And I think that if they go to a regular Major League ballpark in the future, he's like a solid Major League number 2.
This will be my first two-parter. One, Drew Rasmussen. He came back from major injuries and has just shoved again this year. He's phenomenal. Whip under 1, ERA below 3. Drew Rasmussen's awesome. And then 2, Brandon Lau's just going to hit 30 home runs again. Like, he's just a really solid second baseman. And I think because he's played for the Rays and the fact that they haven't been as competitive as they were a few years ago, people just kind of sleep on Brandon Lau and how good of a hitter he truly is.
Oh, definitely. Brandon Lowe's a great pick. I mean, half that line's underrated. Yandy Diaz, Jonathan Aranda. It's a very underrated team, as they always are. But let's go over to the NL East now. Got to start again with the Mets. Who you got for the Mets here? Because I think I know who it is.
Jeff McNeil, of course. It's going to be Jeff McNeil. I wanted to say Brett Beatty, but the fact that McNeil's rocking like a 130 WRC plus is kind of crazy while also playing second base and center field for this team. He's been exactly what this team needs. He's been getting on base. He's walking more than he's striking out. He's even showing a little more pop this year, which we've seen in the past. Jeff's a really good player, and a lot of Mets fans wanted this guy dead in the water. They wanted him off this team, and they would not even be nearly as successful as they are this season without Jeff McNeil.
No, definitely not. I had those two guys written down, but just to be different, I'll say Juan Soto.
Okay, there you go.
Juan Soto is going to have one of the best seasons of his career when people claimed he had a down year. On June 1st, the guy only had 9 home runs, 7 stolen bases, and a 230 average. Since then, he's been the best player in baseball. He's going to go 30-30, which is insane for him to do the first year of a long-term contract. He's approaching 40 homers again. Like, everything that Juan Soto is doing is incredible. He does not... Now, finally, the last couple of weeks, he's started to get that respect again, but the respect should be as loud now as the disrespect was early.
Yeah, Juan Soto's a beast, but got to show my boy Jeff some love, also friend of the channel. All right, Philadelphia Phillies. You love the Phillies. You got a little hard on for them. Who do you got for them?
It's a good baseball team. It's the most complete team in the league. Christopher Sanchez, he's another one. He's kind of asserted himself as one of the 7 or 8 best starting pitchers in baseball, and I think people are still kind of pushing him away a little bit. Like, he's going to start game 1 for them in a playoff series, and they shouldn't really feel that bad about that.
Yeah, I think it's hard for the Phillies because they kind of are who we think they are. The good players are good. The bad players are bad. They're a veteran team. We know what they are. I went with Ranger Suarez. I still think there's a lot of people around baseball that are like, when is he going to suck? And I just don't think he ever is. I think he's a really good pitcher. Shout out you for being early on Ranger Suarez back in 2020.
Oh, yeah, when I was like, this guy's a reliever. He's got everything over there. He was the other guy listed on here. I was scared you were going to go Sanchez first. I want to go to the Braves next. I also think that while it's been such a disastrous season for them, and I think half their team's kind of overrated, they're doing really cool things with pitching. Hurst and Waltrip. Have you seen Hurst and Waltrip coming out over these last 2 months of the season?
Of course. He's my pick.
unbelievable what this guy's doing. Adding more pieces to his repertoire to supplement his really nice splitter. When he made his season debut in that weird game at the Indy 500 because it got rained out, they told him 11 o'clock the night before he had to wake up at 5 a.m. and drive to Indianapolis just to make that start. And he went 5 2/3 scoreless innings because he had to enter the game with one out in the fifth. But he's awesome. He's not getting the respect right now because of how horrific the Braves are.
Yes, Herschel Waldrop was my pick. I would have gone with Schwellenbach as well because I do think he's
Yeah.
like one of the 15 best pitchers in the game. But the injury thing, not as interesting because he's going to miss some time. All right, Washington Nationals. I went with Dylan Cruz. This is a weird team because they just kind of suck. Dylan Cruz is not having a good year by any means. The numbers across the board are pretty horrible. But I don't think that's the kind of player that Dylan Cruz will be. So maybe this isn't more underrated. This is a guy that I believe will break out next year, bounce back, whatever words you want to say. I think he's a good baseball player.
I agree with all that, and I thought about Cruz for those reasons, but it's hard for me to do it when he still is playing so poorly. I thought he'd come back from that oblique injury and rip the cover off the ball. He only did it against the Mets. He has not done it otherwise. But just, I also want to do CJ Abrams for this because I think that he's another guy who people have kind of like pushed him off because he was like supposed to have the superstar potential. Then he didn't have the best first few years. He's still a bad defender at shortstop, but he's really turned himself into a very good major league hitter and still only 24 years old. I think he has a lot more time to continue to get better and does not get the shine he deserves for it.
Yeah, CJ was a guy that I had a hard time picking just because of how bad that glove is, but at the plate, he's phenomenal. And he's what, 23? So
24.
24. He's going to be a really, really good player, a thorn in our sides for years to come. Last team in the division, Miami Marlins. Sneaky, a lot of underrated players on this team. So I'm interested to see where you went.
I mean, he's one of my favorite guys in the league and has been for a long time. Edward Cabrera, baby.
Okay.
I love Edward Cabrera. Edward Cabrera made a great adjustment this year where he kind of lowered his arm slot, found a little bit more horizontal movement on the sinker, made it much easier for him to throw that pitch for strikes. Just him being able to throw strikes, every single secondary pitch he has is ridiculous. 95-mile-an-hour changeup that moves all the way across the zone. Great curveball, great slider, still could throw 97, 98 with the fastball. He's got everything working, great ballpark to pitch in. Very happy that he's been able to take that step forward. Think it says a little bit about how this Marlins team could be moving in the future, the way they've improved their coaching, the way it looks like they might be improving their development, at least the professional level. This might be the first time the Marlins can build something relatively sustainable.
It just depends if they're ever going to spend money, because if you don't have the money, it's never sustainable. That being said, you talked about improvements, development. Can't believe you didn't mention your boy Ronnie Enriquez. I think he's one of the more underrated relievers in Major League Baseball, rocking a 33% K rate on the year, walk rate under 10%. The stuff has been phenomenal, and nobody is hitting the ball hard against him. He's just like
weird,
really good. He's really weird, and he's one of those guys who's a little guy too. He's 5'10", so it's a unique look out of the bullpen, and he throws gas as well. Like Ronnie's just a good pitcher.
Yeah, very good pitcher. I think, again, like the fact they're popping guys up like this while getting development from the older guys, I'm like, all right, there's actually something happening there.
Peter Bendix.
Peter Bendix, baby. Let's move on to the Central. American League Central. I had a tough time picking one of the Tigers. I want to know where you'd go for this.
Yeah, so the Tigers, I did a two-parter. I am kind of weirdly tuned into Tigers Twitter, so this is very specific. They kind of hate Riley Green. I don't get it. There's a lot of Tigers fans that don't think Riley Green is as good as everyone else in baseball is. So I had to mention that because Riley Green's phenomenal. And if the Tigers ever don't want him, I know 29 other teams in Major League Baseball that will happily take him on their team. My more realistic pick, not pitching this year because of injury, Reese Olson. I know this is one of your guys on the pitching side. He's just going on like 3-4 seasons now having a low 3 ERA. Injuries have plagued him, but when he's healthy and pitches, he pitches pretty well.
Yeah, those are the two guys I thought about, but I really didn't want to pick Olsen while he was dealing with that injury. And I think Tigers fans, similar to what we're talking about with Jazz, when you see Riley Green stats at the end of the year, like awesome, 35 homers, 115 RBIs, like what a great season. But then if you watch Riley Green every day, you see the 34% strikeout rate and the highest uppercut in all of baseball by swing tilt. You're like, all right, maybe I actually don't. Maybe this guy actually, I can't stand this guy nonstop. But next team, I think one of the easiest ones here. Cleveland Guardians. You want to say
Jose
it on three?
Ramirez, yeah.
Jose Ramirez.
It's Jose Ramirez. One, there's not many good players on that team. It's crazy how bad that team is, and that they still win any baseball game. So tip your cap to Steven Vogt and the guys over there in Cleveland. But there's one good player, truthfully, on the offensive side, and it's Jose Ramirez, and he's going to go down as one of the best third basemen and give Mike Schmidt a real run at the best third baseman of all time, Alex Rodriguez, but like non-steroid third baseman.
Eddie Matthews. Like I got you in that take a few months ago where it's like people were starting to compare Jose Ramirez to Adrian Beltre. He's going to blow by him. Adrian Beltre, while he was, again, amazing player, one of the best I've seen in my life, it did a lot more compiling towards the end of his career where like this peak that we're still seeing Jose Ramirez in is He's kind of incomparable to any third baseman in the modern era.
What are we going on, like 8 years where he's going to finish like top five in MVP voting every season?
And again, just dragging an offense that never has any help whatsoever to at least getting near playoff contention every single time.
Yeah, it's impressive. Nobody in that division wants to win. Jose Ramirez single handedly wills the Guardians, it feels like, every single season. What about for the Minnesota Twins? One of the most disappointing teams for the last couple seasons. I had a tough time with this one. I ended up going with Matt Wallner just because I love the hard hit rate. I love the barrel rate. He's a good athlete. I think at some point it's all going to just click for him. And he's got like 20 homers in 90 games this year. So I think he's a good ball player.
Yeah, Matt Wallner's working on like nearly a career 900 OPS, which is kind of amazing considering how little he plays and how little respect he gets. But I went another one of my favorites around the league, kind of sticking with the stars method, Joe Ryan. Joe Ryan is a frontline starting pitcher. Like Joe Ryan can start game one of a playoff series. You won't feel that bad about it. Of course, the Twins have not put him in position to do so, but the way he's added to his repertoire the last few years, finding a splitter, finding a sweeper, finding a curveball, finding a sinker, just to add to what was always a really good and interesting, strange, deceptive fastball. We're working on 2 straight years for Joe Ryan with like a 3.3 ERA and a whip under 1. Like
He's
that's
good.
it. That's as good as any other pitcher going to find the whole league. He has had trouble finishing seasons. He does run out of gas. So I'm worried if that will happen over the next few weeks here and kind of hurt those full season stats. But he's so dang good. I think more people need to respect that.
Yeah, you've been a big Joe Ryan guy for a while now, and the numbers don't lie. He's a phenomenal pitcher. A few more teams here in this division. Kansas City Royals, Michael Garcia, right? I feel like that's the pick.
I was thinking about him, but I still want to see him sustain it longer because I always liked everything Michael Garcia had, but now seeing him do it, I'm like, just if you can do it for like 4 months next season, I'll be like, all right, now I'm finally in this. Bobby Witt.
Okay.
Bobby Witt is on the level again of the top players in baseball. It's like
Yes.
Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani, Juan Soto, Bobby Witt. Like that's absolutely the Mount Rushmore of current baseball position players. And I think that sometimes people forget that.
That's interesting. Maybe it is. He is a little more underrated than I think. I just think because being on social media, I feel like the social media people love Bobby Witt. But probably if you asked Mike from Massapequa who the best shortstop in baseball is, he probably doesn't name Francisco Lindor in that conversation either. But he definitely doesn't mention Bobby Witt Jr. most likely.
No, it's kind of thing. It permeates out slowly, and it's hard in a small market like Kansas City. They were in the playoffs last year, and that was good for Bobby Witt. But it's just he's that good. Again, he's the Mount Rushmore right now of current baseball players.
I like it. I like it. Last team, Chicago White Sox. This is a fun one. We can have some crazy picks here. Who do you got?
I did go some crazy picks here. This is one of my favorite relievers in the league. I hope he's a starter one day. Grant Taylor.
Yep.
Secretly has some of the best stuff in baseball. A fastball, 7.5 feet of extension, 100 miles an hour, like 22 inches of induced vertical break. He is getting crazy unlucky this year out of the bullpen. He's got an ERA over 4, and he's got a FIP in Sierra like around 2. Like everything he's doing, strikeouts, walks, batted balls is exceptional. But that White Sox defense is such a catastrophe defensively that sometimes it's hard for him to finish some of these innings and finish some of these games. But if he winds up moving to the rotation next year, which I believe he will, I think you could see a monster.
I got to give a shout out to my boy Lennon Sosa. I have been screaming his name, or Lenin, my bad. Lenin Sosa. He's going to hit like 20 home runs this year, have 20 doubles, and he's going to drive in close to 75 runs, like 70 RBIs with an OPS around 730, 740. There's not a lot of good players on the White Sox. He's playing a bunch of different positions. He's played first, second, third, short. He can play them all. I think he's a major league baseball player, which is saying a lot for the Chicago White Sox roster.
Definitely. And one quick shout out for Chase Mydroth. I know he hasn't been great offensively, but the fact that he's able to handle shortstop defensively, it gives him a lot more floor to work with.
All right, National League Central. Let's get started off with the Chicago Cubs. I'm going to just say mine because I picked a cop-out answer. I think we know what the Cubs are. Justin Steele's not pitching this year, but I think he is one of their more underrated players. You watch him pitch, you're not fascinated. You're not like, wow, this guy's unbelievable. But year after year, he continues to be a top pitcher in the league.
Okay, that is a cop-out answer because he's not playing, and the Cubs are in
I
the
know,
middle of National League playoff race.
Who
This
would
is a guy
you
you're not going
pick?
to see. Daniel Palencia. Daniel Palencia has come out of nowhere and been a lights-out lockdown closer for this Cubs team.
I mean,
in a bullpen that has no other beams of light whatsoever in any direction.
I think you're right. That is a very good pick. I think I got a little confused because remember when we go to the Mets games and we watch him, like, who is Daniel Palencia and why is he not getting the biggest outs for this team? So I think that was a little bit being a little early, not realizing that nobody else really understands how good he is.
And literally, they did not enough at all to fix this bullpen. They did. Ryan Presley, Porter Hodges not had a good season. Drew Pomeranz blew a game against the Braves.
Drew Pomeranz is on the Cubs?
Yes, they got
He's
Andrew
still
Kittredge.
pitching?
Brad Keller's been really good as well. They got him a minor league deal this year. Like they now have Ben Brown out there trying to go. They traded for Taylor Rogers. Absolutely nothing in that Cubs bullpen. I guess Brad Keller has actually had a very good season. Kittredge is good enough, but Palencia has kind of come out of left field to be something that has objectively saved this team.
Do you like Gasolina as a walkout?
And very much so.
I mean, it's a good song, but I think it's more of a hitter song. Even though I know Gasolina, you're throwing heat. I just always think bench warmers.
Definitely. I think that closers profiles more similar to hitters than starting
Fair.
pitchers. You got it because like I'm jacked up for a little bit right now.
Got a
Like, I'm
couple
ready
bullets
to go.
in you. You gotta use them.
Yeah. Who do you think was the most underrated player in the Pirates?
It's tough because that team, woof, their ass.
I didn't think this one was tough.
Well, you're gonna say Paul Skeens.
I am. Yeah.
I didn't pick Paul Skeens. I picked Andrew McCutchen, and here's why.
Nice.
He has been a consistently better than league average hitter his entire career. And every single season, you think Andrew McCutchen's going to retire, signs with the Pirates again. I think he said he'll never play for another team besides the Pirates in his career. Like, if he was on a winning baseball team, you know who would love him right now? The Dodgers would kill for Andrew McCutchen to play on this team. There are a lot of winning baseball teams that could use a player of his caliber because he's just a completely fine hitter right now, good at times, especially against lefties.
Yeah, I did. I had to go Paul Skeens.
That's fine.
Paul Skeens had the best start to a career like ever. It's like him and Doc Gooden in terms of first two seasons. Gooden had much more volume, but Skeens is doing it against and Greenies. Greenies against much better players. If he has two more good starts to end the season, he'll go 2 seasons, 300 innings his major league career with an ERA under 2.
I think I told you that stat too.
Unfathomable.
Like win probability added over on Baseball Reference and Fangraphs since 2022. Again, keep that in mind. Since 2022, Paul Skeens made his debut, midway through last season? Paul Skeens has the 5th most win probability added among any starting pitcher in Major League Baseball since 2022 when Paul Skeens, I believe, was at Air Force. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah, before he ever stepped foot in Baton Rouge, he is still him and Tarek Skubal are so by far the best pitchers in baseball. And I think some people kind of degrade Skeens because he doesn't win enough games. Sometimes he doesn't strike out enough batters. He's objectively so much better than every pitcher in the league besides for Skubal. I guess probably maybe also Crochet.
Crochet's in that combo.
It's ignorant how good he is. A 2 ERA for 300 innings start your career. It doesn't even make any 300 innings. Doesn't make sense.
Got a big series against Cincinnati Reds if you're a Mets fan. I went TJ Friedl because he plays completely fine center field defense. He gets on base at a high clip. I don't think he's a really good player, but I think for a team that is like a playoff contender, a team where TJ Friedl can maybe hit towards the bottom of the order, I think he's got a lot more value than necessarily leading off trying to be one of those staples in your offense.
Definitely. It's a great take on TJ Friedl. I didn't know Elvie Marte. It's been a very topsy-turvy few years for Marte with trade, PED suspension, injuries. Right now, he's going for a 30 homer pace while trying to learn the outfield because they just traded for Key Brian Hayes. Hits the ball ridiculously hard. He's still like 24 years old. Like there's a ton of projection upside still in Noelvi Marte, who is producing right now like an all-star caliber player, not getting the respect for it.
Oh, 100%.
23 years old still.
We got the Brewers and Cardinals left? Who do you want to go with?
I'll be honest, Cardinals in my notes, it says legit, so gross.
I mean,
I couldn't even find one.
Well, what's funny about them is I forced myself to pick one. I picked Ivan Herrera just because he mashes. I like how
he's so bad defensively.
DH, just DH,
yeah.
just mashes the DH. That's fine. You know what's funny about that? You love Augustin Ramirez, and he's so bad defensively too. And Ivan Herrera is a much better hitter than Augustin Ramirez.
I didn't say Augustin Ramirez was underrated.
I know.
Or overrated. He's also like 4 years older.
Whatever.
Evan Herrera played like 300 games at AAA. Augustin Ramirez played like 13.
Are they really that different in age?
Yeah, I think Evan Herrera is like 25 and Augustin's like 22.
Augustin Ramirez is 20. He turns 24 in 6 days. The time of recording Augustin Ramirez.
How old's Herrera?
Ivan Herrera is 25. He turned 25 in June.
Okay, so there you go.
It's a year difference.
But a lot of different playing at AAA. Many different upper minors experience there. If Herrera
this is me just being an Augustin Ramirez hater.
Yeah, it's just a former Yankee thing. But all right, Brewers now. Who you got?
Entire team, everyone, all of them. Andrew Monasterio, when the Mets played them the first time, had like a 32 OPS plus. It's at like 110 right now. Everybody on that team has been kissed by God right on the lips, and they've become incredible baseball players. I can't look around this roster and not say that there's a player that isn't underrated.
Yeah, basically. I do want to give some credit to someone that we've both been very critical of in the past, Bryce Terang.
Really good.
He has become awesome. He's now literally one of the best second basemen in baseball.
Yep.
He got his bat speed up. It's a great lesson to a lot of players over there who swing pool noodles. And now he just hits the ball hard. He lifts it. He's going to have a 2020 season. He's like, I don't need to steal 50 bases anymore because I'm actually a good hitter. Like while still, and again, he's still not like the best defender ever. That was supposed to be his thing. But the fact that he's like a plus, almost a plus hitter at this point, he's been something that's really drastically changed that team.
It's super funny to see he's striking out a lot more and has become a much better player.
Yeah, because strikeouts are not indicative of future success. Also, with the Cal Raleigh season, I think people are disrespecting William Contreras.
Fair. I think that's a good take as well.
He was playing with a broken thumb for like half the season. Now he's been ridiculous hot.
Do you want to mention Jackson Chorio and Sal Frelick and Isaac Collins?
Yeah,
and
literally
Christian
all of
Yelich?
them,
I was like,
the
everybody.
whole squad.
It's crazy. This entire
Blake
team
Perkins? See Blake Perkins under the hood?
Of course, he's
It's
ridiculous.
remarkable.
He's a freak. All these guys are freaks. It's funny too. Was it Blake Perkins or Isaac Collins at the Rockies cut? Which one was that?
Isaac Collins.
Yeah, and
Minor league DFA by the Rockies.
it's insane how
After a 30-30 season, like double A or something.
Can we talk about the Rockies now? Can we just go NL West and we'll finish off
Yeah.
with the AL West? Because I'd love to talk
Absolutely.
about the Rockies because
Sure.
I got a bone to pick with them. Their most underrated player is Chase Dollander, and it's a crime that organization even fucking took him. That's disturbing that the Rockies drafted Chase Dollander. What they've done to this kid, what they've ruined for his major league career, it is malpractice. Dick Monfort should be thrown in jail for what he did. Whoever the GM of that team should be sentenced to life in prison. If you look at Chase Dollander's splits, home and away, and again, that's going to happen with every Rockies pitcher, but I don't know if I've ever seen one so drastic. He has thrown 47 innings on the road, 46 at home. At home, a 9.98 ERA in those 46 innings with a whip at 2. On the road, a 3.6 ERA with a whip at 1.2. That's in like his rookie season, basically. They're hitting over 300 against them at home with an OPS at 993. On the road, 651. Chase Dollander legitimately would be a top 40 pitcher in Major League Baseball if he pitched for any other team besides the Rockies. And they don't use analytics. Imagine that too.
I mean, again, there must be like analytics, whatever. They're going to get hit anyway. But they were a hard team for me to pick. I didn't even think for the pitching angle because Dollander is just it's been such a slog this season. I think that they do have a core group position players that gets underrated as a whole because I think they're all totally okay guys, and Ezekiel Tovar, Jordan Beck, and Hunter Goodman. Tovar's had a pretty disappointing season, but he's also dealt with a lot of injuries. Beck is getting ice cold, but he's just a free swinger with big time tools. And Goodman again is just he's a good man.
Yeah.
Just like his name says. I think that is an actually fine trio foundation of position players who are under team control. Truthfully,
that's probably a good trio of guys that need a real star around them. Like those would be good supporting cast players.
That'd be a trio of guys where if you sign 2 big free agents, you're like, oh, this is actually 1 through 5 our lineup that we're pretty cool with.
100%. For the Los Angeles Dodgers, I had a super hard time. They are what they are. Who did you go with?
I had an easy time. Will Smith.
Okay.
Will Smith.
I didn't know if he was underrated. I thought he's considered as like the second best catcher.
I think he's, again, like a second best catcher is one thing. He's going to get like a statue made for him. He's going to end his career with World Series rings, with so many great seasons. Like he's got a shot to be a Hall of Famer. Like Will Smith is like a perfect catcher. Like he is so good. And I think that again, like I think he's considered the second best catcher in the league. I think now he's 900 OPS. People are getting much more hip to the quality of hitter he is. He never swings the pitch out of the strike zone. He hunts every single ball in the heart of it. He hits for power. He runs relatively well for a catcher. Again, like if there's a Will Smith statue outside Dodger Stadium 30 years from now, I will not be surprised.
It's funny because I'm picking a pitcher, and the difference between me being so hitter focused, you pitcher so focused, for the underrated guy in the Dodgers that we both know are disgustingly good, I went Yamamoto because he's just really good. He's probably one of the 10 best pitchers in baseball. He is disgusting, and as long as he stays healthy, the Dodgers have an absolute ace in that rotation.
He gets hurt a little bit based on the way people view fantasy baseball players because the Dodgers always stick hardcore with a 6-man rotation.
Yeah.
So it just kind of like pulls down his season stats a little bit every single year volume wise, where he's not going to have that like 250 strikeout season or get to those 200 innings. But in terms of per inning basis, like he's blatantly one of the top 10 pitchers in baseball.
San Francisco Giants. Team's hot. They're scary right now.
Team is hot. And you know why they're hot? Because very underrated player in the team, a big signing who's finally caught fire, Willy Adames.
Damn it. I thought I was going to surprise you and say that one.
Willy Adames, similar to the Soto thing, but a much worse version of it, was one of the worst hitters in baseball for the first 2 months of the season. All of a sudden, he got a little comfortable. He got his routine intact, moved across the country. Difficult thing to get through mentally. Now he's rock and rolling. He's got the OPS plus up to 110 in the season. He's going to get to 30 home runs in not an easy place to hit homers. Like, he is playing unbelievable baseball, and he's a huge reason this Giants team is now on the run that they're on.
Yeah, Giants don't get a lot of 30 home run hitters, especially guys who play great
What do you mean
defense.
don't? Never.
Yeah, especially guys who play great defense at shortstop as well. He's an extremely valuable player to this team. It was
The
what?
Giants don't have a 30 home run hitter in 20 years.
Wait, since Barry Bonds?
They don't have a 30 home run hitter since Barry Bonds.
I thought, whoa. So they don't have a repeat starting left fielder on
Yeah.
opening day, and they don't have a 30 home run hitter. I thought Brandon Belt might have snuck out 30 that one year. That's
I think there was
crazy.
I think there were a lot of 28s, 29s for Brandon Belt because he would play a little bit part-time.
Okay, well, yeah, Willie Adames. That's the easy pick. That one's one of the more easy ones because people were ready to write him off as one of the worst free agent signings that we've seen in a long time.
Yeah, and again, I think people assume similarly Buster Posey got to 30, never got to 30. Like that team hasn't had a 30 home run hitter in 20 years.
Good
And Willie
stat. Good
Adames
stat.
is on really, really close to breaking that barrier, which would be super cool to see. San Diego Padres next up, though.
I think. Can I guess who you're going to say, and then I'll say mine?
Yeah, I think you know who I'm going to say
Nick Pivetta is going to be your pick,
for sure.
and my pick is going to be Ramon Laureano, which is
Yeah,
an
good
interesting
call.
one. But I don't know if you guys have seen the year that Ramon Laureano's having. It's been one of the best production outfielders offensively in Major League Baseball. Since he's gotten to the Padres, he's been going ballistic as well. He changes the way that team looks offensively, and it's kind of funny because Ramon Laureano had that moment with the A's before, all the stuff happened with him getting popped for steroids. He kind of cooled off a little bit. He actually had a pretty decent year last season with the Braves. Nobody wanted him. He was floating around with the Orioles. And then all of a sudden, Ramon Laureano has been thrown into a legitimate pennant contending team with the Padres.
And been like the kind of the final piece they needed. But I went Pavetta one because I think that he's always been underrated because
And
he
he's been
always had
great.
the stuff and always had either bad command or pitched in bad ballparks. Pitching now with better command in a good ballpark helped him a lot. But it's a lot also because of how the rest of this Padres rotation has kind of been, I don't even know, fell apart this season.
Yeah.
And Pavetta's been the guy who's taking the ball every fifth day, pitched really well. Dylan Cease has one of the highest ERAs of any qualified pitcher in baseball. Yu Darvish has barely pitched and is bad when he's been on the mound. Michael King has barely pitched. Joe Musgrove has not thrown a pitch. Like they had to go out and get Nestor Cortez the deadline, and he's also stinking it up storm. If the Padres didn't sign Nick Pivetta for $4 million on the eve of spring training, they wouldn't even be a playoff team.
No.
And I think it's that inflection point for this team, this roster, this season makes Pivetta just one of truthfully the more underrated pitchers in baseball right now.
Yeah, Nick Pivetta is really good. Another guy, it's just like K rate over the last 3-4 seasons. He's towards the top of the list, and nobody, I think, would say that unless you are deep in the baseball circle like that.
Absolutely. Last one, the NL West, Arizona Diamondbacks.
Can I still call Ketel Marte underrated? Is that
Yeah,
fair?
I'm
Because
listening.
I think he is undoubtedly a top 10 player in baseball. Offensively, he's like one of the 5-6 best hitters in the league. Defensively at second base, he's also been very solid. He will steal some bases at times. He runs the bases decently well. Ketel Marte is just a really, really good player. And also, fuck that bullshit report that came out about Ketel Marte not playing hard and being lazy and being a problem. And then, on top of that, the actual probably real pick, Geraldo Perdomo, who also came to Ketel Marte's defense.
Exact two guys I listed, especially because Perdomo, while he's had this offensive breakout, I don't think this sustains. I don't think he's like a 25 homer guy moving forward. He just doesn't hit the ball hard enough. But if he still can become a 115 WRC plus guy, if he can be a little bit better than league average while playing a spectacular defensive shortstop, people were kind of shitting on the Diamondbacks for a while for giving Perdomo all of these shots and not promoting Jordan Lawler, who was supposed to be like the be all end all kind of guy. He got his extension last year. People like, how could you block Jordan Lawler? This guy can't hit. Perdomo is exactly what you want from a major league shortstop. I think Diamondbacks are very happy to have him.
Yeah, no, I was definitely one of those denouncers of being like, really? Perdomo? But he proved me wrong this year big time. Last division of the video, we've got the AL West. Let's get started off with the don't call them Oakland Athletics. I actually think there's an incredibly obvious choice. Where did you go, though, James?
Nick Kurtz.
Okay, wow, you said his full name, too. That's crazy. I'll never do that on camera.
I enunciate. Nick Kurtz.
Make sure you enunciate. It's a scary game. Tell me why Mr. Kurtz is the most underrated player on the A's.
It's become almost the best hitter in baseball this year. I know I want to see more. It kind of contradicts a lot of things I've said on this, but in terms of just who is a hitter, like who can, even especially if he improves even a little bit more or just maintains this, get onto the level as a hitter of the Shohei, Judge, Soto tier, it's him. As hard as he hits the ball, as good swing decisions as he's been making lately, he's kind of an unstoppable offensive force right now, and he has to be respected that way.
Is he the best first baseman in Major League Baseball?
Probably. Who's down there?
Vladdy?
I think he might be better than Vladdy.
Okay, that's good.
I think Vladdy's quite good, but Vladdy's now become more of like this metronome of very good, where Nick Kurtz looks like he could be so unbelievably great.
Okay. I went with Shea Langoliers because I don't know if people are noticing, but he's going to hit 30 home runs this year. He's one of the best pop times in Major League Baseball. So
Your
that's huge.
boy.
Yeah, my boy, Shea Langoliers. He's just a really good baseball player. And I think for the A's, who are constantly looking at trying to build this roster with spending $0, getting Shea Langoliers ended up being pretty dang good. He's better than Sean Murphy right now. They won that trade.
He's fantastic. With that pop time though,
Or
he's
that was
given
Matt
up.
Olson. Which one was he?
He was Sean Murphy.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was, but he has still given up, I think, volume wise, the most or second most stolen bases of any catcher in baseball.
I think that's on the pitcher because the
No,
pop
it is
time's
partially.
elite.
It is partially on the pitchers, but the pop time's elite. I don't think the arm's very elite.
That's
Just
fair.
those two, yeah, those two things can work together there.
Well, no, but pop time still is its glove from the time it hits his glove to the time it hits the second baseman's glove. So that means
Oh, okay,
with
yeah,
his noodle arm, if he has one, it's still elite.
it is. But again, that is probably something that's much more in the pitchers. Here's a fun one, especially given recent events. Who's the most underrated player in the Astros?
Yeah, everyone's hating Framber right now, so he's like kind of an easy pick, but I'm not going to pick him. I'm going with Brian Abreu because I think the eighth inning guy might be better than the ninth inning guy, possibly. Brian Abreu.
Well, he's the ninth inning guy now.
Because Hader got hurt. But before that, I think there's an argument that you could make Brian Abreu might be better than Josh Hader. I think they're both incredibly good. You're talking about two of the five best relief pitchers in Major League Baseball. The fact that he is not the everyday closer and that the Astros paid Josh Hader all that money to be the closer, kind of crazy when you had a guy just like him there. I think that's why he's underrated.
Yeah, I think you're right about that, and I do think that now he's actually going to get properly rated as he's
Yes.
going to be a closer in independent race right now. But I did want to go with Framber for this. I know that it was a weird situation that happened the other day when he seemingly purposely crossed up his catcher, and
Do you think he did it on purpose?
I think he definitely did. A 90% chance he did that on purpose.
Okay.
His reaction, turning his back after the way that Anthony Volpe looked back again, and was like, "Oh, something just happened here."
If only
Funny,
Anthony Volpe swung.
yeah. If only Anthony Volpe swung the 90-mile-an-hour fastball down the middle, but after seeing that, I was scrolling around some Astros Twitter and seeing the way that people act for Framber Valdez, the way people treat Framber Valdez, that's what made me think about it. Like one account, Framber is gone, good riddance. Framber is such a B word. It was definitely intentional. If it wasn't, he would have ran up to check on Salazar. Like that, this is not the way you should be treating a guy that's been a part of many, many deep playoff runs, has a 3.1 ERA over 900 innings since he broke out in 2021. Like this is someone who's been one of the steadiest and most reliable pitchers in all of baseball and needs to be treated as such.
Free agent this year. I'll take him on my team.
Maybe. I don't know how long a contract I want to give him with those miles on that arm, though.
That's fair. Los Angeles Angels. Another fan
Weird
base
one.
that hates my guts. I actually think there's two picks here. I think it's Taylor Ward and Zach Neto. I think both of these guys are good baseball players. Zach Neto is going to be possibly 30-30 this year, 2020. I can't remember what the exact number was. Whatever it was pretty impressive. I don't think he's a good defensive shortstop by any means, but he can definitely hit. He runs well. Zach Neto is a good player. And then Taylor Ward, 30 home runs. He's just been like 5-6 straight seasons now of being a good baseball player, and the Angels refuse to trade him.
Yeah, literally solid as hell. I figured you'd go at least one of those two guys who wanted to go pitching and change it up. Jose Soriano. It's weird start to start. Like he's a strange pitcher. Like he's a weird thing of a sinker baller who struggles to throw strikes. Usually, if you're a sinker baller, you're very okay with throwing everything to strike zone, especially with a 97-mile-an-hour demon sinker that just moves all over the place. But he still gets like a 60% ground ball rate, and the strikeout rate sometimes can get touch up near that 24-25%. I think Jose Soriano, it might not happen on this Angels team because they're devoid of any kind of developmental help whatsoever, but he's probably a tweak or two away from being like, oh, that guy's comfortably like one of the 40 best pitchers in baseball.
Yeah, no, he's been surprisingly good for them this season.
Solid, consistent.
Texas Rangers and Mariners. What team you want to go?
Rangers were weird. I thought about Corey Seager, but I didn't really want to say Corey Seager because I think he's really, really well rated. I wanted to say Merrill Kelly, but he's barely a Ranger. He's barely been on the Rangers, so I don't even think that one's fair. So I went with just a really stupid, boring pick, Josh Smith. He just is. He's just a major leaguer. Like he can play. He's played 7 different positions this year.
He's their gadget.
Like literally, he's the gadget guy, and he hits well enough to just make everything work well enough when he has to play any position they need him to. He's filled in a shortstop for Seager. He's filled in a second base for Semien. He's played some first, third. I think he actually played 6 positions because no center field. But he can kind of do it all. It's not a sexy pick, but like he's a guy you have on your roster, and I'm sure their fans love him.
He's bad PR Tommy Edman. He just doesn't get the same love
Yeah.
that Tommy Edman gets because you play 100 different positions. I went Nathan Eovaldi. I know he just got hurt. He's out for the season, but he had an ERA that started with 1 this year. Like, he had a legitimate chance to win the Cy Young if he had a healthy season.
Yeah, but that's always Nathan Eovaldi. He doesn't have
But
healthy seasons.
He never once gets mentioned as like a real ace.
Yeah,
And I think he might be.
because you can't really rely on him at the end of the day.
He's thrown more innings than I think you think.
No, I know he's at the last few years have been relatively healthy, but it's
Yeah.
still always kind of like you're always teetering on the Rangers at the Razors, not the Rangers.
And
The
that's
Razors
why
edge of
he's
safety involved.
underrated. Because when he's there, he's awesome. He's awesome.
Right.
Last team, Seattle Mariners. I went Randy Arozarena. I think
Good one.
that he went underrated on the trade deadline. Granted, the Rays got good prospects, but the fact that more people weren't seemingly all over Randy was crazy. He hits home runs. He steals bases. He gets on base now. He's walking more than I think he really has in previous years. And he plays good left field. Like, he's just a really good player, and he's been a huge piece that's kind of tied this whole Mariners lineup together for an offense that historically has struggled to have good right-handed hitters in that ballpark.
Absolutely. On a similar ilk, this isn't my pick, but I just want to mention I think Julio Rodriguez does get underrated in the public eye, like because people I think expected him to be Ronald Acuna Jr. and he's not Ronald Acuna Jr., but he's still going to be like a 5-6 win player in perpetuity who's going to get near 30-30 and play really good center field, at least quite good center field defense. Not really good, but good center field defense. But I want to end this with a really strange reliever, like I
Oh,
love
of
to.
course.
Gabe Spire.
There he
He's
is.
become one of the best lefties in all of baseball this year. Sinker slider all over the place. Good velocity on it. It's just he's become someone who gets in a bullpen that's good. They've had some kind of rough patches lately. He is someone that gets a lot of big outs for them. And if they do wind up making the playoffs, even though they're completely collapsing at the moment, he'll be a reason why.
There they are, the most underrated players on every team in Major League Baseball. We would love to know who you guys think is underrated on your favorite team. Down in the comment section below, let us know what you're thinking. Don't forget to subscribe to the Windup. We got episodes, more videos coming out this week. Make sure you stick around for that. So much baseball content coming at you. Thank you guys for watching. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.